What's going on, everybody? This is Sean of Raw Select Music. Today I want to talk about this record right here. This is Funky Axe by Spaghetti Head, originally released in 1974, but most of the 18 different versions of this record came out in 1975. And why do I want to talk about this track? Well, it's one of my all-time favorite Funk's 7 inches, and it's just a record that's quite obscure, but definitely I feel like a lot more people out there need to know about this guy. So with that being said, yeah, let's talk about this guy. Much like a lot of the records that I talk about in this playing favorite segment, there really wasn't a whole lot of background and information to go on with this record. However, what I did find out was the key players who were involved with the very short-lived Spaghetti Head project, which only had 3 records released to its name, and 2 of the records, including this one, featured the same song, which is Big Noise from Winnetka, which I'll get into a little bit later. The 3 principal members that make up Spaghetti Head revolve around 3 people. A British songwriter and music producer, Mickey Dallin, and 2 studio musicians, Les Hurdle on bass, and Clem Kennedy on drums. Now, both of these musicians were actually involved in much more well-known projects. Les Hurdle, as a bassist, would be one of the musicians that played on the library music classic, The Mohawks' The Champ, this guy right here. And Clem Kennedy actually racked up a huge number of session credits as a drummer, but probably his biggest claim to fame, he was originally considered for the position of drummer of this kind of famous British rock group that you may have heard of. Yeah, I didn't know about them either until I was reading through his information. So this was basically a one-off project that was hopefully supposed to gain them some sort of traction. However, it ended up going nowhere, and it seemed like the band just sort of naturally dissolved into the obscure annals of musical history. What I speculate about this record was that they would take a jazz standard such as Big Noise from Winnetka, a track that was originally made in 1938 and had been covered to some success by the likes of jazz greats like Gene Krupa and Chico Hamilton. My guess, and this is only my thought process because it's a large part of the history of jazz music, was you do a cover of a jazz standard and hope that it becomes a big selling track that generates a lot of money and a lot of buzz around your name. See the story of the In Crowd and Ramsey Lewis for more information about that. And much like a lot of 7-inch releases, pretty much all the effort went into the big name track, with the B-side just being a throwaway song that probably no one even thought about or really paid any attention. Which is a real shame, because this might have one of the top 10 greatest bass lines of all time. This is a truly minimalistic track. It is simply a hard-hitting drum and bass jam. It kicks off with the main bass line riff. It is largely the foundation of this track, and then it proceeds to hit you right across the face with some of the hardest smacking yet still funkiest drums you've ever heard. And what really helps this track work in its relatively short runtime of 2 minutes and 33 seconds, there is some really dynamic interplay between these two. There's lots of use of space. There's lots of the band really riffing off of each other. The drums know when to drop out versus when to go all in. And the bass line itself never really devolves much past the original groove, which is pretty much present throughout. And it's for that reason alone, this is one of those tracks that's really easy to listen to over and over again. And that's one of the main reasons that it is one of my all-time favorite Funk 7 inches. So surprisingly, bucking the trend of a lot of the videos that I do in this segment, my initial exposure to this record actually wasn't from Brain Freeze, that legendary DJ Shadow and Cut Chemist mix that you can find out more information about over here, but rather it came from Mr. Scruff's 2004 5 Ninja Tune Keep It Solid Steel DJ mix, which featured a wide variety of obscure reggae, hip-hop, funk, soul, and library tracks. And immediately, Spaghetti Head was a track that stuck out to me, and upon hearing it in this DJ mix, I knew that I had to have it myself. One time while digging at a disc union in Tokyo, I was rummaging through their expensive elite records. I can't remember what the exact terminology was for it, but it was something really pretentious, like for serious record buyers only, some shit like that. And I started thumbing through it, figuring that I'd run through a bunch of records that were way out of my price range and I wouldn't want to buy anyways. What ended up turning out is I ran across not only one, but actually 2 copies of this record. And seeing as how it was right next to Payday when I was doing this record dig, I immediately ran to the ATM and picked this guy up because this was one of my most sought after records for a long time. Unfortunately, in Japan, this record goes for quite a bit of money and sells for roughly between 5,000 to 10,000 yen, which is roughly $50 to $100. But thankfully, if you buy a lot of your records online, specifically through Discogs, you actually don't have to break the bank in order to pick this one up. Through this record's 18 different releases, oh my god, you can actually find fairly affordable copies of this record that seem to range all the way from $10 to like $50. But in any case, this is one of the finest bits of funk that you will ever hear. Straight ahead, head slammer, super groover, just an excellent, excellent track, and I can't recommend it enough, and that's why it's one of my all-time favorite funk and soul 7 inches. So that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. If you've listened to this track before, please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. And also, please let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see more videos in this vein. As always, please head over to my WordPress blog if you want to hear this track for yourself, as well as check out Raw Select Radio, the audio component of this YouTube channel, as well as the live streams that I've been doing here on YouTube. You can check those out usually every Sunday night in Japan. I need to actually work out what the time schedule is across the world, but I will do that at a later date. Links to everything, as always, down in the description. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. So until then, peace out!